Hello, welcome to Sports on Pulse. My name is Hans Mensah Ando, and yesterday Tottenham Hotspur announced that their striker Harry Kane will be out injured until March. It means that the striker will be missing some crucial games in the Premier League and also the UEFA Champions League. With me in the studio to discuss the impact of his absence on Tottenham Hotspur's season is my colleague Selwyn Saki, and of course you cannot downplay the importance of Harry Kane to Tottenham Hotspur, can you, Selwyn?
Definitely not. I mean, one of the best strikers in England at the moment, one of the promising strikers for England, even in the future. The leader of Tottenham Hotspur is the one that gets them the goals, and at the moment it looks like he's not going to be around. What is disappointing is the fact that Spurs have allowed this to happen for years to come. The same ankle injury, then they're rushing him into back because they definitely need him, and anytime he comes back. And then this season again, it has happened that he's going to go out, and it's quite surprising that they are saying he's going to come as early as March. Maybe we're hoping that they're going to stretch this time, but it looks like looking at the number of games he's going to miss, they even need him more than earlier than that.
Now, in situations like that, and if you situate it within the context of the fact that the transfer window is active, Spurs may probably look at some options to come in the short term in the form of a loan agreement to try to shore up. What are the options available for Tottenham Hotspur if they want to bring in another player to replace Harry Kane in that short period?
Well, at the moment, what Spurs normally do is when Harry Kane goes on injury, Llorente is definitely the one supposed to be the substitute striker to come in. But as you know, Llorente hasn't been able to produce as much as Harry Kane has been doing. In terms of their style of play, Llorente comes short of that because Spurs like to attack faster, but Llorente will slow down the pace of the attack and they have to go long to him, which Pochettino isn't comfortable in doing that. So normally he puts in Son to play in Harry Kane's position to make sure that they can go on the pace. But at the moment, Son will be away for the Asian Cup to represent his country, South Korea, so he's also not going to be there. They were looking at Lucas Moura to put in there, who isn't really familiar with that position. So
he's
now,
not an out-and-out striker.
exactly.
He's a winger.
So now Spurs are looking to go into the market to try and get a strike, and the player that in pole position for that has to be Bournemouth's Callum Wilson because of his top form this season. They think he's the right person who can play in the same role as Harry Kane.
Now, Callum Wilson is also a target for Chelsea, we understand, but we also heard that a bid had been placed, but it had been rejected by Bournemouth. They are asking in excess of about £60 million for Callum Wilson, and Chelsea are not willing to pay that amount. But with Spurs entering the picture, maybe, just maybe, it could probably push Chelsea to seal a deal. If you look at the dynamics, Spurs don't really need Callum Wilson in the long term. It's just a short-term replacement for Harry Kane. But they need to get a striker. It doesn't look like Llorente is the man that they can depend on. With Son also moving for the Asian Cup as well, makes it very, very difficult for them. Now, what are the games that he will be missing, and what is likely to be the impact on those games for Tottenham Hotspur?
Well, it's going to be the next game is going to be the Premier League game against Fulham. He's going to miss that. He's also going to miss the away League Cup fixture, which is a return leg against Chelsea. He's also going to miss that one. Other games, Crystal Palace, Watford, Newcastle, Leicester, and then the Champions League against Dortmund. He's going to miss both legs, which is quite disappointing. But in March 2nd, too, there's going to be North London derby against Arsenal, which he's probably going to miss.
Those are big games. I mean, Cup games against Chelsea, league games against Arsenal, UEFA Champions League game against Dortmund. Those are huge games. And if you consider the fact that he's their main source of goals, we could be looking at Spurs dropping out of the Champions League, Spurs, dropping down on the Premier League table because of the absence of Harry Kane.
Well, that could happen this season, but then if you look at the statistics with Harry Kane being with Tottenham and not being without, he's played 151 games with them, and then he's won 90 when he's in the team. 150 and he's won 90. But then without Harry Kane, Spurs have been able to play 23 games and have won 13. They've drawn 5, lost 5 without him, and goals per game without him is 1.6 compared to the two goals a game when he's in the team. So there's a bit of reduction in there. But then if you look at the win percentage between when Tottenham have Harry Kane and not, with Harry Kane they have 60% wins. Without him they just have 57% wins.
Well, so the statistics speaks for itself. He is a critical component of Mauricio Pochettino's setup, Harry Kane, but in his absence, and without the possibility of bringing somebody in, and with the reality that Llorente will not be able to cut it, which other players can give them goals from the midfield and maybe from the wings? Lucas Moura, obviously.
Yeah.
Who else from the midfield?
Dele Ali is someone that has also been banging in goals when he's given the chance, and when he gets himself in the area of goals, he's someone that has a lot of goals inside. Christian Eriksen could definitely be there with his dead ball situations when it comes to set pieces. He also has a lot of goals when he can't get the chance. But then if you look at the players that in their team that normally gets goals for them, apart from Harry Kane and Son, it has to be with Dele Ali and Eriksen. Apart from that, we haven't seen anybody who can score as many as those two can.
Well, the fact remains that Tottenham Hotspur are going to be missing Harry Kane. How they cope remains to be seen. Will they bring in another striker, on an interim basis? Will Llorente fire on all cylinders to the surprise of everybody? Wait to see what happens. And crucially, will they be able to remain in the UEFA Champions League in the absence of Harry Kane? Those are, questions that we'll be finding out what the answers are going to be in the coming days and, of course, weeks. This has been the Sport on Pulse with me, Hans Mensando. So, Intaki, thank you very much for joining me. There's more sport when you log on to myjoyonline.com/sports.